Now let's evaluate trigonometric functions with a calculator. As a reminder, to find the cosine and sine of angles other than the special angles, a calculator should be used to approximate a value. The steps to do this will depend on the type of calculator you have. Examples of calculators are the Texas Instrument models. In this image, we see the TI-84 Plus. You could also maybe use the free online Desmos calculator. But what you really want to make sure of is whichever calculator you use, make sure that you're in the appropriate mode, degrees versus radians. All right, so whether you use a handheld calculator or an online calculator, although you may see keys for sine, cosine, and tangent, you may not see keys for secant, cosecant, and cotangent. So how can you evaluate these? Well, the answer is to use the ratios that we have been talking about. So let's take a look at an example of how we might do that. Use a calculator to find the approximate value of each expression rounded to 2 decimal places. So for this first one, the secant of 310 degrees, let me just write that, the secant of 310 degrees, we're going to rewrite that as 1 over the cosine of 310 degrees. And I'm not going to show you this on a calculator, but what you would be just putting into your calculator is exactly what I've written here. And when I did this on my own, I got approximately 1.56, and I should probably put little squiggly equals here. It does say to round to 2 decimal places, so that is an approximation rounded to those 2 decimal places. Part B, find the cosecant of 4 pi over 7. So the cosecant of 4 pi over 7 is equal to 1 over the sine of 4 pi over 7. I don't know if this will help you, but let me just point out that one way that I remember these ratios is if I start with secant that starts with an S, then that's the reciprocal of the cosine, which starts with a C. If I start with the cosecant, that's equal to the reciprocal of the sine function. So they're just the opposite letters. Maybe that'll help you. So making sure that my calculator is in radian mode, I'm going to put 1 over, or 1 divided by, the sine of 4 pi over 7. And when I put that into my calculator, I got approximately 1.03 rounded to 2 decimal places. And finally, the cotangent of negative pi over 8, that is equal to 1 over the tangent of negative pi over 8. And that is going to equal approximately negative 2.41. So make sure that you practice this on your own. It should be pretty self-explanatory, but you don't want to take anything for granted.